Gonna go 50-50 on this one, I guess. Oh, we're back here again. Rune awakens in the boardroom, having spent the entire time looking at the documents prior. He had had a terrible dream. Why did I have that dream after all this time? The thought occurred to Rune, but the answer came just as quickly. Sarah. Truly abhorrent. Those memories from childhood that he didn't want to remember. This is absolutely the worst. He recalls the deep resentment he harbored towards his father, the feeling of pity and compassion he had for his mother. And with no one to receive those feelings, they continue to plague him endlessly. All this stemmed from 12 years ago. Are we getting a flashback? We're getting a flashback! Rune was a truly violent girl since her youth. Not once would she take to heart anything said to her. She would just have a way of just getting on everyone's nerves. No matter how hard people tried to understand her, they couldn't find any reason. And Rune continued to be a source of grief. He would generate hostility and strife with others, and in the meantime slip away into the gaps as she laughed her head off. Kinda sad that we don't get an image of her right now. Maybe that's why he was someone who loved being violent. Oh my god, maybe that's why she was someone who loved being violent. He was so intent on rebelling against something. It was like she was missing something important inside of her. It was that kind of girl. That day, her left eye was swollen red, perhaps having been stung by an insect. Concerned for Rune, our mother forced her weak, frail body as she tried to bring Rune to a hospital on the outskirts of town. Mom's waiting for you, Rune. No. Look, I'll give you my dessert for tonight. Okay, just listen to what she says for today. I don't want to. Go away. Doesn't your eye hurt, Rune? If you don't get a doctor to take a look at it, you might never get to see with that eye anymore. You don't want that to happen, do you? I don't care. This eye can go die. Wow, where the hell is this coming from? Oh come on, don't say something so silly. Rune, are you ready to go? Come on, your mum pushed herself today and got out of bed for this. Whatever, mum can go die. The hospital can go die. And dad can go die too. Rune, you go die. Everyone should just die. Don't say something so sad. Well, the truth is, I don't particularly find what she said sad. Go die. I couldn't keep track of how many times she said that to me. Rune seems to have figured out with her limited vocabulary, saying that would inflict the greatest emotional harm. Rune, I don't really mind if you're telling me that, but please don't tell Mum that. I'm begging you. It's another meaningless endeavour. It was a little devil who do the complete opposite of what you wanted her to do. On the other hand, if you tell her to do the exact opposite of what you want done, then she'd do it without question. Maybe she just took pleasure in causing people distress, so what if reverse psychology worked on her incredibly well? A conversation with Rune really amounted to nothing more than a one-way assault on you. Oh, Rune, you haven't changed yet? Sorry Mum, she just wouldn't listen to me. It's alright, sorry for making you deal with her. Come on Rune, let's have the doctor take a look at your eye now. No. I won't take no for an answer. We need to have that looked at right away. I found you a really good doctor. I'm sure he'll make it all better, just like that. A click of his finger. No. Rune knew that there was no winning an argument with our mother, so... oh god, she's throwing a tantrum. I don't want to go. She would just whine. That was the greatest form of resistance a child possesses. Yes, Just throwing a tantrum. The greatest resistance of a child. Once she started screaming, she would continue until her vocal cords were worn out. Rune, please stop crying, okay? Once we're finished at the doctor's, I'll get you some ice cream from the central plaza. I don't want to go. She just wouldn't do as she was told, so we forced her to come along with us. 30 minutes after, Rune finally stopped screaming. While she was getting checked up at the medical facility, Rune would constantly try to bite or lunge at the doctor in charge of her. But the doctor silently continued the checkup, but it was written all over his face that he was already at his wit's end. I wonder how many times he got bitten then. If this hadn't been a hospital in our family, he probably would have told us to never come back again. On the way back, we stopped by the central square for a breather. Goodness, whatever am I going to do with you, Rune? I'll try harder to deal with her. I'm sure if I am a bit more patient with her, I can talk with her and she'll understand. I could stand to learn a thing or two from your patience with her. I swear, if you weren't here with me, I wouldn't know what to do. I'm sure Rune doesn't mean bad. I had to believe that, otherwise I couldn't possibly continue. Maybe when she grows a little older, then I'm sure. Continue considering her as my little sister. I'm sure this is just a phase, just for a while. It won't last. Once Rune grows a little older, even she will. I'll be fine. So don't worry about a thing. Mom, Rune came back with a broken stick. Who knows where she found that? Hey, don't play with that, it's dangerous. Ha 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 ha. Dangerous, dangerous. She continued to run around, screaming as she kicked up dirt with the stick, then dashed off to go who knows where. That's a horrible place to go, who knows where. Goodness gracious. We need her to get back here. Who knows what sort of trouble she may cause. I'll go and get her. Just wait here and rest, Mom. No, I'll go with you. If she causes problems outside, I need to scold her properly. If only that could have prevented what came next. Just moments later. It took us a moment to even realise that the blood-curdling sound we heard was a scream. What was that? I ran towards the source. I could see a boy convulsing on the ground while being straddled by someone. There we go. Well, at least we see what Rune looks like now. This is the story Heinzwald was talking us about, wasn't he? That so was Rune. She continued to stab the broken stick from earlier into the boy's face countless times while laughing hysterically as if she had completely lost it. What? The whole area was just stained red. Just how unreal, how unbelievable the scene was. My mind just completely zoned out. I thought to myself, is this what it would look like if I splashed a whole bucket of red paint here? Hey, answer me. The boy was even trying to dodge the stick that kept coming to bear down upon him. He was clearly unconscious. Rune! Die, just die already, you stupid. Rune's voice, already coarse and raspy, kept screaming at the child to die. It no longer sounded like a child's. Die, die, die! Nor did it even sound remotely human. The next moment, my body just lurched forward unconsciously. When I came to, my clothes were drenched and dyed with various shades of crimson blood. I'm fairly sure I managed to pull Rune away from the boy, but I don't have any clear memory of doing so. The boy was immediately brought to Vaihad's Medica General Hospital. Patient named Marcus Growlers, age 8. The doctor performed the appropriate surgical measures, thankfully managed to save the boy's life. However, they weren't able to save his left eye because of the extreme lacerations inflicted. The stick has pierced, oh boy. The stick had pierced through his eyeball and created a large fissure in the sphenoid bone of his skull, causing a huge mana imbalance in his body. Marcus would have to suffer chronic migraines for the remainder of his life. The reason for why Rune attacked him was discovered later. According to her, he made fun of my eye patch. This incident occurred when Rune was 6 years of age. The doctors remarked that the entire incident was quite bizarre. How resilient the child's eyeball was, its position, its size, the durability and sharpness of the stick Rune used. All of the factors had to be perfect for this whole incident to have happened. It was practically impossible for a girl 6 years of age to have inflicted such serious wounds on a boy 2 years older than her. There must have been some element of surprise for her to have been able to stab at such a small vital point. One of the doctors said the incident was truly bad luck. Or so he said. But he was wrong. There's no way that it was just sheer bad luck. This wasn't just some incident where Rune simply lashed out due to emotion. Somewhere deep inside her, she was to have a clear intention to harm and destroy from the very beginning. This little incident was just an excuse to exercise that malicious intent. After that incident, Rune received the absolute worst scolding of her life. She apologized to every single person involved, bawling all the while. The peacekeepers, the police in other words, gave a direct order to place her under indefinite house arrest. For some time, Rune simply stopped talking altogether. Of course, the responsibility of dealing with the aftermath fell solely on my mother's and father's shoulders. The Rughzenhaide did everything in their power to make things right for the Rughzenhaide family. We had Rughzenhaide Medica provide the latest of medical technologies. The extravagant costs of the treatments were all paid for by the Rughzenhaides. Marcus Growler's education was fully paid for. Even his parents, who were experiencing troubles with work, were promised a livelihood as well. It all added up to be a very generous offer to the Growlers family. At first the Growlers had turned them down. However, as time went by, the family began to quarrel amongst themselves, arguing that it was a once-in-a-lifetime chance. In the end, Marcus's parents divorced. He and his mother left the city soon after. A day, a week, a month, a year. Time had passed. The Rughzenhaide conglomerate continued to grow in power. Although deep, the scar left in Rughzenhaide's family slowly began to heal. And with the passage of time, Rune slowly began to learn how to interact with other people. She began to speak more politely, as if that violent menace that was her had completely been overwritten, instead turning into a proper lady. She was much more considerate of people, disturbingly so. In reaction to her indescribable behaviour, I harboured doubts. Did Rune truly learn anything from that incident? While I was initially doubtful, the skepticism eventually faded away. More time passed since the Growlers incident, another 5 years.